Usas, I'm glad you're working on this, but you got a lot of things to fix here. The number one problem is that you think this is a paper about whether or not you like cohabitation. That is not the focus. The focus of this paper is about the effects of cohabitation. We know that it is increasing in the United States. Now, what effects is it causing? Your introduction is a big problem because you started right away with a quote. I really don't like any citations sometimes in an introduction, because this is where you are gradually talking about the issue in a very general way, how it's been happening in the United States. It's okay in the introduction to mention a few causes of cohabitation, but then at the end of the introduction, you give the big thesis statement about different kinds of effects that you're going to document. So your first quote could be in the essay later on in the second or third paragraph, because it does talk about an implication, which is like an effect. Cohabitation has implications for the family lives of children. Good. So that is an effect. Cohabitation is maybe a less stable family arrangement. And so if children are living in a less stable family, then maybe that will affect them in some way. And I hope you can explain that. By the way, you broke another rule in the very first sentence, and that is that it's a very long quote. I think a quote should be a maximum of like 8-10 words maximum. So there's more, according to the quote, there's more and more children in cohabitating families. The quote doesn't really exactly say what the effects are of this increased number of children in these types of families. Okay, your second paragraph is all about you and your personal view, and I want to save that till later on, maybe at the conclusion. Right now I want to know, what do the experts say about cohabitation, especially how it is affecting parents and children. What you're saying here is kind of logical, that maybe being in a cohabitating family is better than being raised by a single parent. That's very logical, but like I said, I want the evidence, I want the facts and the numbers, the research that you've done. I don't want your opinion about this right now. Again, you start out with a big quote here, and that is a big mistake. I want you to express the main idea of this paragraph in your own simple words, and then use quotes to support your main points. Now, I clicked on these numbers here, and guess what? They took me right to Wikipedia. You're not allowed to use Wikipedia because it's not reliable. But if you go to Wikipedia, you will find references to reliable researchers, publications, journals, books, but they're not on Wikipedia they can't. Their material is usually not on Wikipedia. Again, you're not talking here much about the effects of cohabitation. You're talking about the possible causes, and an obvious cause is that it's a way to get to know somebody before you get married. So here you're talking about the benefits of marriage. That's not really, yes, marriage has legal benefits, but that's not the focus of this paper. The focus is, how does cohabitation affect men, women, partners, children, and so people who are researching this, for example, are looking at divorce. Some people who cohabitate, some of them never get married, some of them just stay cohabitating. A good effect of cohabitation would be if it eventually results in men and women who stay together in long-term relationships for 10 or 20 years. Now, that's the kind of research I'm looking for that would indicate that somehow cohabitating couples end up staying together just as much as married couples do. But I don't know if the research says that, and I want you to see if you can find it. There's been a lot of research on cohabitation. Also, talk more about the children. How are they affected? So, at the end, what your conclusion should be about is, are the effects of cohabitation some seem to be negative, some seem to be positive, do some seem to be very big effects, and some seem to be very small effects? And there's tons of research about how it affects children. I'm sure you can find something if you keep looking. If you can't get into the library database, there are things in Google Scholar and Google on good websites, not Wikipedia. Websites with .org or .edu endings are usually more reliable.